Bonnie, this is Ray McCamden, and today I am happy to show you another BoxLang quick tip. This time, the incredibly flexible and powerful image module. Now, I'm currently on the documentation page for this, and like the rest of the modules, you can install it pretty quickly at the command line with install bx module, bx image. Once you do this, you get like Photoshop on the server pretty much. All of these functions and the left-hand nav here, these are all added to your BoxLang install. And it covers pretty much anything you can imagine doing with images. You also get a image component. Typically, I use the built-in functions, but one of the handy things that the component does, and you can see it in the documentation as one of the examples, is if you're doing anything with an image where you've kind of modified it on the fly, the BX image component can actually output it to your browser without you having to save it to the file system and do all that. It's like a quick way to just output it into the rest of your web page. But you have a lot of different functions here. I built a couple of examples to kind of show you some of the things that you can do. So for the first example, all I'm going to do is look at a source directory of images, or files really. And for each of those, I'm going to use one of the built-in functions the module gives you is image file. If that is true, I'm going to read that in, and then I'm going to dump out the image info result. And you can see here I've commented out the built-in function. You also have a member function, which is what I prefer. And this will give you a lot of data about each image. And as the comment says, if all you care about is the width and height, there's functions for that. So let me run that. That is image1.bxs. And it's going to scan those 4 images and output a lot. And I'll just show you one of them. But you can see it gives you information about the color model, all kind of things that make no sense to me at all. And you get the source, the height, and the width, etc. So if you care about stuff like this, then this is information that you could get using the image info or .info member function once you have read that image in. Now, something a bit more useful, once again, I'm going to look at that source directory, and then for each of those particular images, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to scale to fit, which means shrink the image until it fits into a bounding box, keeping the aspect ratio, which is important, and then also grayscale it and basically create thumbnails automatically. So if we run this, you see it's going to output for each of the 4 that it works on, and you can see them filling up. And if we look at that source image, or one of them, you can see a lovely picture there, and then the much smaller grayscale version of it. And I just noticed, so this original image was 3.19 megabytes. Thumbnail is a lot smaller. So even outside of thumbnails, you could use code like this to generate a more web-friendly version of an image a person uploads. So scale the fit down to, let's say, 650 pixels wide. Don't grayscale so you have the original color, and you would still have a much smaller, more optimized for the web version. One more example, you can actually apply some text to images. In this case, I'm doing a watermark by using text. I'm going to use a function that sets a particular drawing color, set drawing color, and then another one that will draw text. And you can see I'm using copyright in the current date and positioning it XY top left corner, giving it a font and a size, and we will just run this. And it's creating those watermarked images. And again, this is the original, and this is the watermarked one. Now, you may need to do some work to ensure your colors work. For example, sometimes it's a bit hard to read, but you definitely see that watermark there. I'll also say that one of the functions we have is the ability to kind of copy and paste images. So instead of using text, You could have a company logo or some such, and then actually apply that over the source image as a way of doing your watermark. Now, the last example I'll show is kind of fun. What this one does is, once again, it's going to loop over my source directory, and it's going to ask for the EXIF metadata for the image. If it finds it, it's going to look for the position data in the image under the EXIF meta tags of GPS longitude and GPS latitude. It's going to convert those strings into a decimal value and then use a Mapbox API to reverse geocode. So basically, where were those images taken? So I will run this one. Make sure I spell it correctly. There we go. BoxLang Image Locate.bxs. And you can see each image. One was in Budapest, one was in Austria, I should say. And then one of the images actually didn't have that metadata in there, so it just ignored it. So again, check out the documentation. There is a huge amount of different things you can do with your images. Install the module and you are good to go.